So, I feel like you and I have been on, we've been on shows together, but I've never been able to like sit down and talk to you. I've seen you at the Hollywood Improv a bunch.
Right.
I'm a huge fan of not just your movies, but like, MTV days, man. We go all back to there. You were one of the main dudes like in my life. And I feel like, from working in that era, like you were kind of there at the birth of what Jay-Z is, if I'm not mistaken. Am I right?
Correct. Like I was so lucky, to be in the right place at the right time because MTV was opening up its doors to more genres. MTV was sort of like the one-stop shop for culture, one-stop shop for music, one-stop shop for concerts. So we didn't have no other outlets that give you that kind of information. And
Yeah.
so being a host on that platform was tremendous for me. I mean, it made me a household name overnight. Man, I got a chance to, travel the world for the first time in a way I've never traveled before. I was, interviewing Whitney Houston. I turn around Madonna, turn around Kurt Cobain, turn around Jay-Z or Snoop Dogg that's 19 and brand new to the game.
Fuck.
So it was really cool. So that's why I thought it was be pivotal for me to write my book because I don't think everyone really puts it all together to know one, my impact in music, but also to the time of life. We had record stores. We was going to Tower Records back then. You was buying the CD, opening up the artwork. I haven't seen a CD in 10 years.
Years. There was something beautiful about like saving up the $20 to go down to Waxy Maxi and they put it in that huge like crate thing so you couldn't steal it. That like I don't know that plastic thing. It's like I'm not gonna steal Color Me Bad's second record. Who's gonna steal that? But it was an experience. And my buddy Morty, who helps me with this show, he says there's something about like you could be proud of your CD book back in the day. You know what I mean? You could look at it and you go through it, or like if a girl gets in your car and she's like, "What are you listening to?" And you can kind of tell a little bit about the person, what's in there. But can you be proud about your MP3 collection? It's like anybody. There's nothing about it. It's just it's not even palpable. Like it's just, yes, I can push play on it, but it's completely just fabricated. Now you said something that I thought was great is like, you were there at the beginning of what Jay-Z is. So before we even get into that, I just got to ask, cause I want to like, were you always a hip hop fan? Where did you grow up and when did you first really start digging on like what is now like Jay-Z?
So like for me, I grew up in Newark, New Jersey. New York was like right there. You could
Right
see it.
there.
Like, you're a train ride away from being a part of, what they call hip hop. We knew it was there. We wanted to be a part of it. And, we had a few rappers, in Jersey that were making names like Naughty by Nature.
Oh yeah.
We had Queen Latifah, we had Apache, Lords of the Underground, Poor Righteous Teachers. So we had a couple little groups that was bubbling, Redman from
Oh
Jersey.
yeah.
So, we were like, New York is the big brother and Jersey was the little brother, right? And
But wait, hold on. But the bad brother though, like dude, Newark,
yeah.
it ain't all the Prudential Center, right? Back in the day.
Yeah, it wasn't no Prudential Center then, you know what I mean? It was, very, very, very much an urban city, hardworking blue collar town. To go to New York and make it big was really a dream. It's like everybody who went over there, if they were good and if they worked hard, they could make it in New York, right?
Yeah.
So that was my sort of drive. But Jay-Z, for me, Jay-Z embodied the culture, and he was someone that moved like me, somebody that talked like me, somebody that was in those kind of that sort of microcosm of their personal world and what hip hop was doing at the time. That's why I've always been a Jay-Z fan.
Were you there working for MTV when the Blueprint came out?
Yes.
So what
And
would, yeah, go ahead.
so I interviewed Jay-Z before he became Jay-Z now. And what most people don't realize at these early 90s, Jay-Z was in the dugout. Biggie was in front of him.
Yeah.
So you got to understand, if they on the same baseball team, Biggie is the leadoff hitter. You know, Jay-Z might be designated. He might, be fourth in the slot. So, but he was bubbling though. You know what I'm saying? He was jazzy. What was his name at the time? Was he Hawaiian Fresh or something? It was he had a different name before Jay.
Let me see if I have it. Justin, are you on here? If you look up what his old what his first name was, we might have it on here.
Hawaiian Silky or something like that.
Hawaiian Silky.
It's something bugged out like you wouldn't even believe it. Do you see it?
He's looking it up right now, but I hope it's Hawaiian Silky, because that is
so close.
It's
Hawaiian Sophie.
Sophie.
Hawaiian Sophie.
Right. So
he'll always be Silky to me.
He was kind of like Hawaiian Sophie coming up in the game. Biggie had all the bubble, all the sort of the LeBron James hype in Brooklyn. You know what I'm saying? So
yeah.
I remember when I first interviewed Jay-Z, he came to MTV Jams, and he was like, yo, man, I'm just trying to make my mark in the game. He said, one day I'm gonna have everybody calling me Hov, right? H-O-V. And then I was like, yo, that's interesting. Why would you want us to call you H-O-V? He said, that's short for Jehovah, because I'm a God MC. I said, wow. Next thing I know, next album, my name is Hov. Oh, H to the O-V. Used to move snowflakes by the O-Z. I said back then you would call me CEO of the ROC. I'm like, wow, he had that mindset early.
What do you think of this evolution, to get to this record? Like before we even start talking about this one, hearing Reasonable Doubt for the first time. Because to me, that's whereas his music started getting, girls, HOVA, these are almost pop songs. And the original, Reasonable Doubt is it's almost like Nas-Illmatic.
Yeah,
just real.
Doubt. Reasonable Doubt to me was the epitome of New York meets hip hop meets Jay evolving into an artist to a degree that he's going to have his own lane. And I still listen to Reasonable Doubt, and I still listen to the Blueprint. Those two are like 1-2 punch. Whoop, bam.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It made Jay-Z stand out so strongly outside of Biggie that it was like, oh shit, Jay nice. You know what I mean? Yo, Jay nice. Jay really nice.
Oh yeah.
It would be, if it was a ball player, you seen him go to the Rucker and score 55 with the best cats,
Yeah.
And so to me, I thought that was pivotal in his career, where he just branched off. He just really took off, and people started to respect him for being him, not a sidekick or whoever, coming off of the dugout of Biggie,
Yeah. What was your Blueprint moment? What was would you say is your breakthrough? The moment where you were like, I've arrived.
It's twofold, right?
Please.
My Blueprint moment for Bill Bellamy is my first time on HBO, because HBO at that time was basically stamping the funniest guys in the country.
Yeah.
So that was like a breakout moment. And then my second Blueprint moment would be being on MTV and being so strong on it that people start to know me as Bill Bellamy. They was like, yo, before they used to be like, yo, man, my man, you're a comedian, right? What's your name?
Yeah.
I know the joke. They know your joke, but they don't know your name. But when I got to MTV, they was like, yo, you're Bill Bellamy, right? That's my man. That's Bill Bellamy. Yo, Bill. You know, that was epic because now I had turned a corner and I became not only a household name, but like I became someone that people associated with music. It was someone that people associated with hip hop in a real way. It wasn't corny, you know what I'm saying? I felt like I came off authentic to people. So I thought that was really nice.
So you do Def Comedy Jam. That's before. So you think the MTV thing happened because of Def Comedy Jam and how well you did?
I think so. I think it was just momentum, bro. Like when you catch a wave, it is, you just can't call it, right? You know, it was Def Comedy Jam. I was buzzing in New York already, you know what I'm saying? I was hitting all the right venues and tearing them shits down. And then, you know, I got MTV, and then it was just like, yo, that's my man, Bill Bellamy. I just seen him at the Savoy, you know what I mean? Or I saw him, you know what I mean? And so now I go from being a local hero or tri-state hero to being, you know, mainstream.
National. Yeah, being national. Yeah. Was it a hard process, like, to get the MTV thing, or was it like they brought you in because they saw that and they were like, we already kind of like this dude's vibe, or was it like a hard process to get the gig at MTV?
No. It wasn't that hard because they kind of scouted a couple cats that they were interested in. I happened to be like one of 5 or 6 guys.
Yeah.
And I did my showcase at Boston Comedy Club at the time in the Village. I remember that. And so I went down there and I did my thing, man. I went hard. I ended up getting a 13-day tryout. I mean, a 13-week. So they gave me a little, 13-week sort of tryout. I got paid for that. And then they just kept me. And I stayed there for 7 years.
Jesus Christ. That's fucking dope. Mm-hmm. That is dope. So you really did see the blow up, because hip hop. I'm going on Friday at Radio City Music Hall. They're doing this big concert with like Big Daddy Kane and EPMD, and so you came right at the tail end of what the originators of hip hop, where you're talking about like Eric B. and Rakim, but you're getting it to where hip hop became what it is now, which is arguably the most popular worldwide music. Right. Drake, The Weeknd, are global. And I think the only thing that might be a little bit bigger right now is something like Bad Bunny, which is like, humongous, like I almost went to.
It's like nobody can even explain it. That's how big it is.
Well, but if you think about it, Bill, it actually makes perfect sense because it's a mixture of hip hop, it's a mixture of dance, and then it's a mixture of like, the Latino culture, like, which there are, I think, there's just millions upon millions of people out there. And now America is a very like biracial, not biracial, but just multicultural nation where Latinos make up, I think, the majority. So it's just, and he just came out at the right time. But even with hip hop, I mean, think about when this record came out. This came out, if I'm not mistaken, and Justin, I want you to check, but I'm pretty sure this came out, this record, Blueprint, came out in 2001. And if I'm not mistaken, came out on September 11th, on the Tuesday, September 11th.
Right.
Because Gerard Carmichael has a very funny joke about it, about like calling his dad, and his dad's like, he's like, did you hear it? He goes, yeah, man, did you hear track 2? And he's like, no. He's like, it's an attack on America. He goes, I know, man, these Swiss beats are killer. Like, he's like, no, it's 9/11, you fucking idiot. But that's what I'm saying, is that this comes out in 2001, which is really where hip hop, if I remember, is really starting to turn into pop. And you're getting people like Nelly, you're getting, I don't want to say Chingy, I think was later, but
well, you get Nelly, you're getting access to Nas, you're getting access to no, that's the Locks in them, that's 95. I'm thinking
Because think about this. Notorious B.I.G. is mid-90s, Tupac mid-90s. They were the first people that I really remember that started making, and I'm leaving out like, please don't think I'm leaving out MC Hammer and how important he was at one point, because he was so popular.
Later though, let me just
sure.
Let me just type this in. I want to just get a reference because I'm like, yo, man. It was really that was the part, like I was saying to you, that I was so happy to be a part of MTV at that time because it was a floodgate that opened. R&B benefited. So it's, yeah, right. You said September 11th, right?
That crazy.
It's crazy. I forgot that it was that. Damn.
Mm-hmm. Well, because I mean, how do you remember? Because we all remember one fucking thing from that day. There's some great records.
I had no idea it came out the same day.
Same day, dude. And that because back when CDs came out on Tuesdays, now I think they're probably Friday now. Just they were like, well, we just don't want to, just in case there's another terrorist attack. But nobody's going to attack us on a Friday, on a Tuesday. That's the biggest impact. You don't attack us on the fucking weekend, you know. But this comes out, you know. Were you still at MTV when this record came out?
Oh my God, yes. No. 2001, no, I wasn't. I was gone. 2001, September 11th, I had literally just came back on my honeymoon, and me and my wife were like just chilling, and we got that crazy ass phone call that a plane hit the tower, and I was like, nah, that can't be real. And it was so early in the morning on the West Coast, when we turned on the news, it looked like a movie. I was like, oh shit.
Yeah.
Oh shit. Like it was just starting to make sense, like slowly, like click, click, click. I was like, oh shit. This is real. Man, that I don't even remember Jay-Z album coming out. I just remember turning on the news and it all day long, smoke and boom, you know.
Oh yeah. Well, I think, you know, like I said, it's everything's gonna get a little bit, you know, not ignored, but you know, there's something that's, you know, a global crisis, you know, attack or whatever we're gonna call it. And so everything is going to get pushed to the wayside, and everything did. But, you know, the first song off this record was Izzo. And I remember that came out around July. That was, you know, I remember that song just suddenly being like, because that was, I think the first song that I noticed by Jay-Z in my life was where I really knew who he was Hard Knock Life. That was the one. And that was like his first like poppy one, where it was like, now he's like, now this is like, you know, because I mean, I've always loved hip hop. I've always been more rock. I love Wu-Tang, one of the biggest groups, Tribe Called Quest. I go see shows constantly now. I just saw Erykah Badu at the Prudential Center. So I love hip hop, but I didn't really hear Jay-Z's name until Hard Knock Life came out.
Right, because that one was such a crossover song.
Oh, huge crossover. So when did this record really start getting its play for you?
For me, which song?
Because the singles were Izzo, Girls, 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 Jig of That, and then Song Cry. And they all came out relatively July 28th, October 2nd, January 29th, and April 16th. And I mean, I remember how big like Izzo was. Izzo was the one. That was the one that was like the hit.
Izzo was huge, but we're talking like that was a radio hit.
Yes.
You know, like that was the song that was pulling the album, you know, out the mud kind of thing. But the songs that really was crazy was Renegade. The other one, Song Cry, Me the Song Cry. Heart of the City was dope. That was the ones to me like that I was hearing in New York at the time. Like girls, 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 I do adore. Like that one was like a sort of bubbly LL Cool J, you know, got the girls, you know, going crazy in the summertime joint. So you got to understand, like, Takeover was dope, but it wasn't the one they was playing on the radio. The one they was playing was H to the Izzo, Girls, 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 Jigga, You Don't Know. I show them, Reeks coming on me, so much slow, I got Roller on it. But I think the biggest radio outside of H to the Izzo would have been Song Cry.
Yeah. Oh, for sure.
Just those two were the ones that like they played on the radio that probably made him go platinum. If I would have to roll the dice on that. But I think those two big ones were the pop-ish ones that we played. Probably on MTV the videos the most.
Yeah.
But Renegade was crazy.
Why was that the song that connected with you? What was it about that you loved?
Renegade was a masterpiece in the sense that it was basically stating how dope he was and what he has contributed to this game and how he was just going against the grain with cats that was hating on him and this, that, and the other, blah, 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 blah. And then the thing that really, 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 really killed it was everybody said that Eminem bodied him on that record. So it inadvertently helped Eminem be considered a real MC because he literally lifted Jay-Z off that record. If you go back and listen to Eminem's lines on that, man, he spazzed out, bro.
Yeah. Well, Eminem is just there's videos of him just freestyling that I'm like, that's better than everybody's rap ever. It's just like you can't. That's the same thing with comedy. It's like he was gonna make it regardless. It's like funny's funny. Is eventually, if it wasn't Dr. Dre that put him on, somebody would have. It just was cooler that Dr. Dre did it. What is like the signature things about Jay-Z that set him apart for you? Like, because I'm a very like I'm not. This is. I mean, I hate to admit it, but this is the first time I've listened to this album in whole. The only one I've listened to before that was Reasonable Doubt, which we did a few weeks earlier on the podcast, which I loved because like I said, it reminded me of Illmatic. It was like an outing of like him, like, no, I'm here and I'm going to show you that I am the greatest. And I think at the time you're listening to those songs and you're like, God damn, this dude's got a big ego. But everybody in hip hop kind of has that ego.
Got to, man. I mean, the thing that I can honestly say to you that why I love Jay as one of my top 5 rappers ever, it was very unique the way he captured street life. I felt like I knew all the guys he hung out with. I felt like I understood and could visually see the world that he was sort of going in and out of, right? I remember one of the lines that in an interview he said, you got to fake it till you make it. Him and Dame Dash would go to the clubs and they would pour water in those bottles until they had the money so they could look like they was balling. Like, back then they used to do Moet, and they used to do what's the other champagne? We wasn't doing
Cristal.
Yeah. So they would pour some shit, like some soda or some shit in the Cristal bottles and be like, yo. And I just always loved that, I felt like Jay was like, I'm making it regardless. It don't matter, whether he was in the street game or not. And he decided to make a twist, turn and get out of there. But he spoke of it with a reverence though, like, what he was accomplishing, what he was going through, the treachery, the disloyalty, counting the money out the street and stacking it, I always thought like, wow, man, how can he say that? Can he go to jail for that? Like I always felt like Jay might be leaking a little too much information, but at the same time, he was a great storyteller, right? And I always thought like, as a comedian, I would want to be considered like the Jay-Z of comedy, like a guy who always told it truthful, always kept it real, and people could feel that from you. So that's why I idolize, Jay, because I just felt like Jay just got it right. And, he's a dude's dude, you know what I mean? He not that loud.
No,
He
not at all.
loud.
Oh, dude. It's like he lets his rhymes speak for himself. He's not. Yeah, yes, he's married to, like, he says, I got the hottest girl in the game wearing my chain, and that's the flashiest thing about him. I mean, he's really like there's so many celebrities that would be at his level with the amount of success that he's had that would want to be everywhere, and Jay-Z is everywhere, but you don't see him. He's just laying in the cut. He's at the game, but he's not. There's so many celebrities that are I just want the camera on me. It feels like he's almost just like, I'm letting my work speak for itself. And, I got my Vans, I got my money, like, I'm good. I wanted to ask you, because we talked about, I don't know if we did, but we mentioned about hustling. So Jay-Z, had a hustle as a dealer before, he really got it. What was your hustle before comedy? Like, what were you doing before you found comedy, or to actually get you to the place that you got Def Comedy Jam?
Well, I was doing, I was in college at the time. I didn't know I was going to be a comedian yet. So we're talking 89. I graduated in 89. So I was literally 2 years removed from Def Jam and all that before I got hot. And so I was doing little stand-up shows at school at Rutgers. I was, hosting coffee houses, typical bullshit. You might make $50, joke telling contests or whatever, you know what I'm saying? So I was just working on that just because I liked it. It was like a hobby. I didn't know after that time that I was like, I could really do this for a career. I was just like, this shit is fun on a Saturday, chicks like it,
Well, what did you want to do because I have a moment where it's like, I remember watching my dad watch Comic Relief when Carlin was on, seeing him laugh. I'm like 6 years old, and I'm like, that's what I want to do. So that was your moment. You didn't have of course
one of my moments that I said that's what I want to do was when Eddie Murphy came to my school. Eddie Murphy was on some tour, and he came to Rutgers, and people slept on the ground to get tickets for this man. And we went to that show, and when I say Eddie Murphy, everything that came out his mouth was hysterical.
Yeah.
I said, oh shit. Like, how do you get to that level? Like, that's the mark right there. I was like, that would be live. If I could stand up there and talk for an hour and everything I say be bananas, damn, I want to do that. So I'm gonna give my shout out to Eddie. Eddie made me want to do it.
I mean, I think Eddie affected 90% of the comedians that are working today. It's like he was undeniable. Whether it was his stand-up or was his movies, there was something about him. And I love that you brought him up to, because Jay-Z is very similar in the idea that, like, Jay-Z changed hip hop to a place that and I'm not just talking about like the use of producers or really making these pop songs. I'm just saying, like, the fact, like, what he rhymed about in his style. There's something, there's like legend about how good Eddie Murphy was as a comic, and there's legend of like Jay-Z, like, not. I watched this interview with Rick Rubin, and he was talking about the songwriting process, and he said something about Jay-Z, and I think the interviewer was like, does Jay-Z really not write at all? And he's like, no, he hears the beat, walks away for 20 minutes, and then he goes right into it. And it's like, he doesn't come there with a pad, whereas like Eminem is just constantly writing. And it's like, there's like a folklore about the way Jay-Z fucking spits his rhymes, and same with Eddie. Like, Eddie carried, think about this, man. The movie Golden Child without Eddie Murphy is one of the worst movies ever made, right? Flip that burger, it's burning. Like, those little things that he did, it's just made that one of my favorite movies ever, because of you have that innate talent and that innate sense of what's funny. Was it a hard like the learning process of doing comedy? Like, were there, like, how many years until you really started thinking you found your voice?
Wow, that's a good one, huh? I would say about 3.
3? Good God, fuck yeah, dude.
I would say about 3 years where I'm starting to say, yo, I think I know what I'm doing a little bit. Like I kind of got it a little bit, not all the way there,
Yeah.
not all the way there, but just like I know how I'm gonna start. I know what works for me. I know how to get them going, right? So I had to figure those little beats out. And then I just started writing jokes that really, really, really hit me. I had to write things that was very, very personal. So like when I started doing that, that's when my comedy just got bigger. Because before I was just doing more observational comedy. I wasn't really putting myself in there.
Yeah.
But the more I put myself in there, it brought me to life. Because people get a chance to, I feel like people get a chance to get a snapshot of who you are through your comedy.
Oh my God, yes. And I like that you said you had little flashes. Like I bombed so much at the beginning, and then I would have these moments where people were like, "Oh no, you actually can do this." Like you just
bro. Everybody has those nights where you just off, or you missed a word, or you just didn't set it up right. Like, you know what I mean? Or then you go on after a comedian that's better than you. You know, you that night you go behind Chris Rock and he got a great bit and you just take it to the face. It can happen, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
Yeah.
But the beauty of comedy, much like being a rapper, is the more you do it, the better you get. Like the more you write, the better your pen is. The more you tell jokes, the quicker your timing gets, the better you're able to tell a joke and cut out the fat and get to it. You just keep working at it.
Yeah. Oh, it's I say this, I've been doing it 15 years and I say I just got funny. You know what I mean? Like it's an ever evolving thing. It's rare that you meet a comedian, you know, and I'll even say MC, that there's some people that just have it. Like Jay-Z probably had it. Notorious B.I.G. probably had it. You know, Method Man probably had it. LL Cool J, all those guys. But there's some people that have to like really work and figure out their style. Let's talk about a couple of the songs. I feel like there's only a few that we really, really need to talk about. The first one I want to bring up, actually, before I do that, Bill, let me say this so everybody knows. The Blueprint was reportedly cut in 2 weeks, with Jay-Z recording 9 songs in 2 days. 9 songs in 2 days, which is incredible.
Phenomenal.
Yeah, and Jay-Z and his producers used vintage soul as inspiration, including a vocal sample on almost every track from such artists as Al Green, Bobby Blue Bland, David Ruffin, and the Jackson 5, with the exceptions of Jigga That, Hola Jovito, and Renegade, a track produced by and featuring the rapper Eminem, and the only track on the album featuring another rapper on verses. It sold, so it came out the day of the September 11th attacks. It sold over 427,000 copies in its opening week. So what's the record before this? Because I could like pull it up. Because it goes Reasonable Doubt.
The album before that was Reasonable Doubt.
Yeah. Well, no. Hold on. Wait. Reasonable Doubt's the first one. That came out in blah, 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 where I've got it all right here. So by the same year, his debut release, Reasonable Doubt, comes out in 96. Prior to that, Jay had been selling burned CDs out of his car. The album reached number 23 on the Billboard 200, generally favored by critics. After reaching a new label distribution deal with Def Jam in 97, Jay-Z released his follow-up, In My Lifetime Volume 1, produced by Puffy Combs. Is that what he would know? At that time, he was Puff Daddy. I'm sorry. I don't want to misname him. He's got so many. Diddy, Puffy, Puffaluffagus.
Right.
Outsold. So that all said his previous record. The album was a personal revelation for Jay-Z as he told stories of his difficult upbringing. Then you've got Volume 2, Hard Knock Life, which is when I first heard him. And then in 99, he collabs with Mariah Carey on Heartbreaker. In 2000, and then Volume 3 comes out.
That's just a single. That's
sure,
not
but you're right. It's just a single, but that's way of getting him even big. That's getting him to sell 427,000 copies in the first week. So that's an important moment for him because now he's crossing over you know, it's not like he's just doing shit with Swiss Beats and with Diddy. Now he's with arguably one of the greatest or biggest soul singers of the 90s.
Facts.
Then you have Volume 3. In 2000, they released the Dynasty Rock La Familia, which was a compilation record of all the Rockefeller artists. But Def Jam turns it into a Jay-Z record. And then you have this record. So the first song I want to talk about, let me pull it up. Hold on, I just had it. Because there's a lot of feud stuff on this record.
Which record?
On the one we're talking about, on the Blueprint. So The Takeover is the first song I want to talk about. This is a Jay-Z diss song aimed at Mobb Deep and Nas. Yeah. The song is better remembered for its Nas diss, as it catalyzed the long-running and epic Jay-Z Nas beef. He's quoted saying, "For me, it was like a sport. Takeover was like a sport." Jay-Z said during an interview with Angie Martinez at the time of the record's release, "I respected dude lyrically. I feel like I'm on top of my game. I don't feel you can compare his career to my career, but that's just my opinion." In another interview, well, hold on, before I even get to that, do you believe that? Do you think, I mean, Jay-Z Nas, I don't think, I do think that you can put Illmatic and Reasonable Doubt like right up head to head. I think I'm going to go Illmatic. I'm going to go Illmatic every time, because Illmatic, I think, is one of the greatest records ever made for hip hop or of any genre.
Crazy. Illmatic was just crazy, bro. It's certain albums just crazy, man. Illmatic can't be touched. It's just one of those things. It was bigger than just being an album. It's the timing of it. It felt like a revolutionary album. You know, it just didn't feel like music. It felt like a masterpiece. You know what I mean?
Let me ask you a question. So without naming any names, like, did you have any beefs within comedy when you were first starting? Or were you just like, I'm going to keep my blinders on and do my thing?
No. We didn't have any beef like that. I think there was some competition. It was very competitive. Jersey versus New York, you know what I mean, versus Philly and Connecticut. You know, Cats was really just trying to be the best ever, you know, so we were competing. Like if I saw you have a great set and you represent New York and I'm representing Jersey, I'm putting Jersey on my back tonight. We got to go up against Brooklyn. We got to go up against Bronx. You know what I mean? Like, that's the kind of, and so when you would go, if they say, yo, my man from Jersey, Bill Bellamy, New Yorkers would be like, oh, yo, all right, yeah, my man, yo, he crazy. Oh, but at first they'd be like, whatever.
Yeah.
Jersey, we in New York, baby. That's how they would be like, yo, this ain't Jersey.
Let me ask you, were you doing all the clubs, or did you start in like black rooms?
I started in black rooms, but I was working, you know, the crossover rooms, you know, I was doing, you know, Rascals in Jersey. I was doing Catch a Rising Star. I was doing, you know, Boston Comedy Club was a crossover room, you know,
sure,
where you get a mixture of college kids and this, that, and the other. But when I would go up, you know, to Uptown, that would be Harlem. That's all black.
Yeah, yeah.
You know, so I was able to do, I was versatile, I think, with my stand-up. So I was able to like play this room and then run uptown and do that room and then go back down to the East Village and do that room, you know?
Yeah. What would you say, you know, was your takeover moment? What was your, like, when was the moment that you felt that you would really, you know?
Takeover moment? How to be a player.
How to be, yeah, dude. That movie rules. That movie rules.
Yeah. Like y'all thought it was a game, right? Like How to Be a Player, being the lead in a movie and being like sort of cast as this smooth, cool cat. That was a Jay-Z moment in hip hop for me, you know, where it's like you got the right role, you got the right look, you know, it feels like a good suit when you put it on, you know. And to this day, people still say, yo, How to Be a Player, yo, my man, you taught me how to be a player. Me and my little brother used to watch your movie every day. We'd come on and watch it again, because we was like, yo, we want to live like Dre, you know what I'm saying? You know what I mean?
Oh, yeah.
So you got cats saying they want to live like Dre, and I'm like, yo, I want to live like Jay. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah. Oh, I love it.
You
No, it's
know,
such a good movie, man. It's like I remember when that came out, and I thought that was like one of the coolest things like ever, man. Um, but uh, you know, Izzo is the next song I want to talk about because I feel like you got to talk about this. So the line H to the Izzo, V to the Izzy is a slang method of spelling out Hova. It was a why would my writer wrote it was a trizend in the Rizap community to put the is in the words. Do you remember that? Do you remember who was the first person to start doing that? Was that Snoop that was like doing like he was more like an Izzle?
oh, V to the VA. So I don't know if so what year was this? 91, 2001? Was Fizzle my nizzle? It's kind of in the same kind of vein. I don't know who did it first. I can't say. I'm not really sure. I would have to look that up.
What was before I even get into the talking about the song, what was like either a word trend or a fashion trend that you look back on now and you're like, I can't believe I was a part of that?
The loud colors, bro. Bright ass orange, lime green, yellow. It was like we looked like stop signs, bro. We was just like that era of was just car canai,
Oh yeah.
colors,
Oh yeah.
Kangos, you know what I'm saying? Coogee sweaters.
Hmm.
Yeah, Coogee
Those
sweaters.
that
Coogee was like at that time, Coogee was like Gucci.
oh yeah. That
You
was
know what
it.
I mean?
It was just so funny because all those designer brands were around back then, but nobody in hip hop or in just fashion in general, what pop culture was going on, those people didn't fuck with any of that stuff. I mean, there were people probably wearing Versace and shit, but I really think it was like the rap game slowly but surely started pushing, even Jay being one of them, talking about the bigger designer brands because it was all
and making them popular. Like Jay, you know, needs his flowers. Like he was the first cat to talk about popping bottles and, you know, putting Mo, you know, they were saying, you know, Cristal, they talked about Mo. Then they went from that. He said, so one of his lines is like, we out here doing Mo in a speedboat. You know what I'm saying? So it's like, he was always pushing the agenda and pushing hip hop forward. Like we dressed up, you know, like I never forget one of his lines. He was like, it's time that, you know, this is obviously not Blueprint, but it's basically like we not wearing baggy pants no more. You know what I'm saying? We dressing up a little more. We trying to be a little more refined, you know.
oh yeah.
You know, and people went with it, you know, because Jay was really saying like, hey man, I ain't got my windows, you know, I don't have my windows tinted on this one. I want you to see me. I want you to see me walk through, you know what I mean? So I'm like, the dude's wordplay, his storytelling is unparalleled. I mean, he's definitely a gift to the culture for sure.
100%. And like you said, like he was saying we don't have to do the baggy clothes because there's a comedian, Chris Porter, that I'm friends with. It's like he's like a rock dude, and he always had long hair. And I had long hair, and then I cut my hair short. And he was like, "You cut your hair?" He's like, "But what about your, you know, the music or whatever you're doing?" And I'm like, "Dude, you can be rock and roll with short hair. Like you can be hip hop in a 3-piece suit. Doesn't make a difference." But now it is leading to my next question. How do you feel about hip hop fashion now? Because I'm be honest with you. You said we don't have to wear baggy clothes. Jay-Z said that. I kind of fucking thought that was like, dude, like the 90s, late 90s, like hip hop, even though you were talking about the colors and shit, like there was something about, especially the New York guys, like Wu-Tang, like they dress so fucking cool with the Timbs on and the fucking, like that's badass.
The bucket hat.
Yeah. And bro, you look at some of the shit. Like I was just in LA a couple days ago and I went to Rick Owens because I'm getting shit from my tour. And I go in there and this dude walks in with the tightest, most shredded pants, I had ever seen in my life. And I'm like, that is lame. Like, that's lame. I don't care if they cost $7,000. It looks ridiculous. So
Right.
how do you think about the fashion now compared to
I
what it
think
was?
I think it's a plus and a minus. Like for instance, I think that hip hop has pushed the envelope for what is cool in fashion, right?
Yeah.
You know, the labels that they're doing from the Balenciagas, obviously Versace, Louis Vuitton, Gucci, whatever, right? These guys are wearing it and they're wearing it in a stylish manner. You know what I mean? They're not dumbing it down and looking or making it ghetto. They rocking it. You know, they rocking it with, the fly glasses and the polo top, joint with the grills, with the fitted jeans situation and some bomb ass sneakers. Cats ain't wearing Timberlands now, but they wearing $900, $2,000 sneakers, right?
Oh,
Okay.
yeah.
Cool, right?
Yeah.
So that part of what it's done for the culture, I think is outstanding. The new stuff is sort of the more androgynous or sort of the metrosexual sort of like aspect that we never had before.
Yeah.
That's new. You know what I mean? Like when you see guys wearing, you see guys like Nas X, you see guys, wearing like a furry pink outfit. Maybe they got like a purse or whatever. And this, we didn't have that in hip hop in 20 years ago.
Yeah.
So now there's been an influx of different styles, different people playing characters, that they're still hip hop. And that's interesting and it's different.
Yeah. Oh, completely. Completely. I do think I wouldn't mind if baggy pants came back a little bit. Like I've never been a tight pant dude. I've never been a tight pants guy, man. I'm 5'9", so I gotta make myself look, everything's fitted, but I like a little room to breathe.
Just a little bit.
Yeah. All right. Girls, girls, girls. Let's talk about that. This is the second single off the record, reached number 4 on the US Hot R&B hip hop charts. It's basically a playful description of Jay's promiscuous lifestyle. Contains a sample of "There's Nothing in This World That Can Stop Me From Loving You" by Tom Brock, who died a year later. The song has additional vocals sung by Q-Tip, Slick Rick, and Biz Markie, but they're not credited as featured guests on the back artwork. They are, however, credited in the album's liner notes. Who are some people? What was a project that you've worked on where you got to be around, 3 legends? Not even 3. It could be 1, 2. But I mean, to work with Q-Tip, who, I vote on the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame every year, and I'm fighting to get A Tribe Called Quest in. They're on the short list. They're on the short list. They deserve to be on there, and they'll get in. Slick Rick, one of the most influential people in hip hop, and Biz Markie, who was just kind of there, a part of everything. What was a project that you've worked on that you were like, fuck, I can't believe I'm working on this with these dudes or girls?
Well, I would have to say MTV because I pitched a show called MTV Jams Live. And so we would do the show in the studio, but with a live band and this, that, and the other, right? And so I had on one show, I had Tupac. You can look this up. I had Shock G.
From Digital Underground?
Digital Underground.
Oh, fuck off.
It was crazy. I had, I might have had Try too, because this is all around that time. And Tupac was like, I get around, still clown with the underground when you come around. That song was dope. He did that one. Another MTV moment that was crazy is when I had Busta Rhymes, when Busta Rhymes was like, oh, fire. After he left Leaders of the New School, he just kept blowing up, kept coming with another hit. When Naughty by Nature blew up, that was another moment. Those guys I knew way before they got big. So the fact that I went from seeing a local group of my friends that I grew up with become famous at the same time I'm famous was crazy. Like we always talk about that. Like like, yo, that's so crazy. Because just a year ago, nobody knew who we were. Now, this year, we're at spring break in Daytona Beach. Like,
Yeah.
what the fuck?
Yeah. What is your swan song moment at MTV? Like, what was the moment you're like, it's never gonna get better than this? Like either meeting somebody, doing something, interviewing somebody. Cause you mentioned like, I mean, dude, you were fucking there, dude. You were there when
Oh,
MTV was the biggest thing in the fucking world. That
I'm
was
gonna
it. It was,
tell
it,
you a summer. I'm gonna tell you a summer that when I say this song, you're gonna go, oh shit.
Tell me.
It was 95, 1, 2, 3 into the 4. Snoop Doggy Dogg was at the Dre is at the
Yeah.
top, ready to make an entrance. So back on up, cause you know we about to rip shit up. That
Yeah.
summer.
Yeah.
Yo, give me the microphone first so I can bust like a bubble.
Yeah.
Compton and Long Beach together. Now you know you in trouble. It ain't nothing but a G thing, baby.
Well,
that summer was crazy.
Yeah.
That was 95.
So 1995, all like, you know, hip hop's turning, like, you know, where are you? Why is it for you this important like moment? Not just because the music's great, but I mean, is it just what they're having you
It
do
was
or
just like 95 to me was indicative of hip hop making its stand that it ain't going nowhere. And that different versions of hip hop is here now. We got West Coast rap, we got East Coast rap, we got cats coming out the South now. You got Outkast, you got Arrested Development, you got the Fugees. Like it's so much hip hop that's popping off.
yeah.
Ready or not, here I come. You can't hide. Like that.
Are they throwing you into the mix for all of that? And they're just like, you're the guy. I mean,
Yeah.
let me ask you a question. Let me ask you a question because I just to strike my memory, like how many black VJs were there working at MTV during that time?
It was me and Ananda Lewis.
I remember Ananda. Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. I came in after that. Ed Lover and those guys left. You know, it was like we switched. It was a changing of the guard, so to speak.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So did they? So I'm assuming that most of the white producers were like, well, let's put them in there. But I mean, also, you get to go in there, and you know, because I don't think Kennedy is going to do as well as you are talking to like Nas or something.
Correct. So like it worked. It worked out that I became the #1 show on MTV. I became the #1 VJ. So I was able to, with my personality, I was able to cross genres. Like I'd be I interviewed Steven Tyler, right? Then turn around, Alanis Morissette, and then the next day I do Ice Cube. You know what I mean? So it was eclectic.
I mean, but this is the thing, and you were talking about like it only took you 3 years. Some people it takes very short to find their voice because they're already like a confident, charismatic person. And the second we saw you up there, it was like, you know, you looked very comfortable. Where you hear some VJs, it took time. You know, people podcasting, it took me time to figure out, all right, you're talking to somebody and you let them talk and blah, 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 and don't look at that and don't do this. You know, you just have this thing that just seems very, it looks like you made every guest feel comfortable immediately.
Yeah. And that's what I wanted to do. Like, I didn't want people to feel tight, you know, come in and I gotta just like bend their arm to give me, you know, answers and stuff. So the more enthusiasm I had for them and their project, they relaxed. And it was like, oh, this dude is engaged. Like, oh, he really does know my music. He really did listen, you know, and I knew the producers and stuff. So I was always doing my homework, which I think was a good attribute. Do your homework.
Yeah. Oh my God. Yeah. I know we got to get you out of here soon. So I just want to ask this, and this is my last MTV question. What was your favorite interview that you ever did? What was the one that meant the world to you? You know what I mean?
Michael Jackson.
Oh,
yeah. Michael Jackson was crazy because it was just like he didn't interview with a lot of people.
No one.
And he picked me. He handpicked me. If you go back and look at the Video Music Awards, it was me and Biggie on stage, and we gave the Video Vanguard Award to Michael and Janet. And so that night, I never forget Michael coming over to me, and he was like, "You did such a good job with my sister. Like, you were really good, and you showed her so much love. Thank you, thank you, thank you." And next thing I know, he was like, "I want Bill Bellamy." And I was like, "Oh," and it was like Michael Jackson requested that you do the thing, and the boom, bam, boom. I was like, "What?"
That
Oh
rules, man.
shit. I was like, "Oh shit."
Did you feel comfortable and confident, or you get nervous before something like
I
that?
was like this, bro. I was like,
Yeah.
this, but I settled in, and kind of like, got back into my zone. But it was like one of the guys I grew up watching, admiring, one of the guys I said, man, one day I'm gonna meet Michael Jackson at Jackson 5. And I'm sitting there talking to him, man, he knows my name. Like, to me, that was just sort of surreal. Like, wow,
Insane.
like
Insane.
I made it. Like, if Michael Jackson knows me, he's been everywhere in the world, and he knows that Bill Bellamy is somebody that is important. That's crazy.
Completely, dude. That's a fucking great moment. All right,
Yeah.
I got a few questions, and we're gonna get you out of here. You mentioned your top five MCs. You said Jay-Z's in there. What? Give me that in order. If you know him in order, great, from 5 down. But you said he's in there. Where do you put Jay-Z in your list of the top 5 greatest MCs?
Well, he's my number one.
Number one. Wow. Okay.
Jay's my number one MC. My second would be Nas. My third would be Big. My fourth would be Tupac. Then my fifth, I'm gonna hit you with one that people not gonna really, really see, because I could go with Rakim.
Yeah.
But I'm gonna go with, he's my sixth. My fifth, I'm gonna go with Big Daddy Kane. Because Big Daddy Kane was the guy who influenced me to be fly as a comedian. Like, he was the guy. Like, each one of these rappers influenced me. Like, each one of these rappers gave me something to add to Bill Bellamy. Like, Jay taught me how, the hustler mentality, like how to talk that talk, how to walk that walk. Nas taught me how, to get well read and be about the information and think better and read more and learn about the culture. Like, he was always spitting gems in his music, right? Then you got Big. Big was just charismatic, clever. He was a lyrical genius. You know what I'm saying? Just lyrically gifted. He made wordplay fun and colorful. Tupac gave me that, sort of that passion for the underdog.
Fire,
that fire of, like, the people that are underserved in our communities, and people that get looked over, the poor. He had that kind of like bravado. You know what I mean? And Big Daddy Kane, like I said, Kane was just smooth and slick. You know what I'm saying? He could dance. He was smooth with the ladies. He had all this charisma. And I was just like, yo, ain't nobody in comedy like Big Daddy Kane.
I was very lucky. I was doing JFL Toronto last September, and Russell Peters, he's so connected to hip hop because he loves it. He loves it. He's a true fan. And
DJ.
And for sure. Yeah, he can DJ his ass off, but he loves hip hop. And I mean, to the place where he's put on at JFL Montreal, he did a big concert once. And in Toronto, he did one. And he brought out, he was on the same stage that I was performing at, the outdoor stage, which is like for when I was doing the jam. And it was Big Daddy Kane, EPMD, who's the girl that is Crystal Waters, who else? Nice and Smooth, hosted with him and Flava Flav. And listen, I'm a huge EPMD fan. I'm leaving somebody out too. I know for a fact I'm leaving somebody out. I'm a huge EPMD fan, but meeting Big Daddy Kane, like, and just his aura and like that, you said, like, it's just, it's so cool to see that. It was like, oh no, this motherfucker
Is the real deal.
is the real deal. And then I interviewed Bun B, who also worked with Jay-Z. It's so funny we're talking about it. But when I interviewed him and I said, who is the compliment that you got that felt like it was you like, oh man, like, you know, that I made it. It was like when Big Daddy Kane was like, you know, his son came up to him and he goes, yeah, dude, my dad and I love you. And he's like, what? Like that's a trip. What's the best compliment? Who complimented you that fucking that you were just like, I can't believe you're a fan? Michael Jackson. I feel like you already said it. Michael Jackson. Is there anybody else?
No, I would say Tupac.
Oh God, dude. Dude, you were fucking there, dude.
Yeah, man.
You were fucking in it, man. God damn. How did it come up? And did he just walk up to you and go, yo, I like your shit, and then walk off? Or is it like,
I'll tell you my Tupac story. So
please.
I was doing this show up at Uptown, and Tupac was there, right? And he came running around the corner because, like, you come off stage, you got to come around, and then there was a middle, like, alley, sort of like a foyer or whatever. And he was like, "Yo, man, how you think of that crazy shit? Man, you stupid as hell." Like, he was literally like hugging me, like, yo, whatever, you know, like, yo, man, you funny than a motherfucker, right? And so if you go back and you also watch the interview I did with Tupac with Dr. Dre, he goes on to say, like, tag it again, like, yo, man, they owe you for the booty call, like, you that dude, whatever. He was really a genuine fan, like literally, like, as if I was a rapper, he'd be like, yo, you got skills, kind of thing. You got skills, you know.
Well, you did. I mean, you did kind of create the term booty call.
Yeah. Yeah, and people knew it too. So it was like, yo, they owe you for that booty call shit, man. How you think of that shit, man? You crazy. Like, everybody used to say that. Like, how do you think of that shit so funny, man? It bugged me out how you just think of shit that's so funny. I'm like, dog, I don't even know. I just be like thinking outside the box with my shit. You know what I mean?
I swear to God, I got a connection to the universe.
I got a connection to the comedic universe, baby.
I mean, people owe you booty call. Isn't that cool, man? Like you've had an incredible career and continue to, but something that you created is like, it's so big that it's like, it's just a part of the universe now, man. It's a part of the vocabulary, dude. And it's such a funny thing to have created. Just a booty call. Like, it's such
they're still going on. That's the thing. They're universal. That people gotta have it.
It's like somebody once said blowjob. They were like, that's you mean when they put their mouth on your dick? Yeah, blowjob. I like that. And then that just took off. You blowjob, booty call.
They right there.
Right there, dude. Good for you, man. I hope I do that. All right. I got two more. I got one last question, and then we're doing our final speed questions. Dude, I'm so happy you came on, man. And we got to fucking hang out. Where would you put this record in Jay-Z's entire output? Like, he's got a big career. So is this your favorite Jay-Z record? Where would you rank it? And where would you put, like, in the top 5, top 10?
Blueprint? What do you think?
Blueprint.
In hip hop?
Not hip hop, in Jay-Z. Jay-Z, only Jay-Z.
I would say Blueprint would be number 1.
Really?
Yeah. I would say Blueprint, because Blueprint is almost like the house that he built that was perfect, because you had Reasonable Doubt, you had all these other albums leading up to it, but it felt like Blueprint was literally the house that Jay-Z built, and he could build other wings off of that.
I agree. I do agree. That's a good way to put it. Yeah, because I feel like his whole style not changed, but this is the big record. Whereas on the other ones, he had a vibe and he had hits, but this one was loaded with hits and loaded with songs that he's going to be playing for the rest of his career. But also kind of like, it's a pivotal moment for him in his career, because it takes you don't get to the Black Album without this. You don't get to Encore like without this. This is really you can see the budding sprouts of all that other shit coming out. All right, let me ask you this. I ask all the guests these questions. What is your favorite song on this record? You might have said it by Renegade, but is Renegade your favorite, or is there another one?
If I had to pick, my heart is pick would be the one that came off the hardest to me, kind of sort of is Renegade.
Yeah.
But Takeover is the swag of the album.
Yeah. Kanye West producing it.
Yeah.
It's got great.
Takeover is just a ride. As soon as you get on it, that beat is just driving. And he's just shooting grenade rocket launchers at everybody, letting you know it's over. Your days are numbered. I'm hitting you. I'm telling you, get out my way. I'm here. I ain't going nowhere. You ain't nothing you could do about it. That's what I
mean, the first two tracks are The Ruler's Back and Takeover. I mean, those are like, if those aren't statements, like, you know, that, and he believes it. And he wasn't just like some rappers will talk the shit about this is it. This is the fucking shit right here. I'm the best. And it's just like, all right. And then he does it and actually did it.
Yeah.
Which is incredible.
Shit, man. And it's like, now you're going to make me go listen to it today. I got another interview. I'm going to listen to it on my way to my other interview.
Dude.
I just want to relive it again, like go back over it.
It rules, man. It's been a fun listen, because that's the thing about this podcast is that, like, I might not be in the mood for Jay-Z hip hop, or I might not be in the mood for Steely Dan, but if you sit with the record, especially after doing this, I always go, all right, I'm gonna put the album back on and just listen to it after the conversation.
Yeah, I'm gonna vibe out with it. Thank you so much.
Of course. What's your least favorite song on this record?
My least favorite. Let me see. I'll tell you. My least favorite is, let's go backwards. It's my least favorite. Yeah. I would say Hola Jovito. I don't know if that one's not touching my spirit like that.
Yeah, I skipped over that a few times. I'm not gonna lie, I skipped over Girls after a listen. It's just I feel like, look, I love the beat. The Just Blaze beat is great, but the chorus is just, it was whatever. And I think it's more I think the only thing I really dug about it was that he was wearing a Sammy Baugh old Washington Redskins jersey in the fucking video, and that's where I'm from. So I was like, yeah, all right, but the song's a little, but it's not bad. It's not bad. It's just on a record like this. Favorite. Yeah, on a record like this, I feel like you could have left that off and then put it on a different record. I just don't know if it fits the whole vibe of this. But next question, this is my favorite one. Can you fuck to this record?
To the Blueprint?
To the Blueprint. Can you fuck to it?
No, it's a vibe. It's a different type of album. It's like have a cocktail, you know, probably smoke a blunt and just vibe, or a cigar. It's a very masculine album.
Yes.
You know, it's not sexy.
Yeah, it is very, you said it perfect. It's a very masculine record. This is like, motherfucker, take over.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? It's a different kind of sex if you're doing it, you're fucking to this. And the last question would be, what would be your elevator pitch to get someone to listen to this album?
If you love classic hip hop and you want to listen to one of the best albums ever created, then you got to listen to the Blueprint. God
damn. Okay, I'm not disagreeing. Dude, this was awesome. And I'm so glad we got to talk. Promote away. Please promote away. What do you got going on? What do you want us to...
Oh, man. Really cool, man. Right now, I have a new book out called Top Billing Stories of Laughter, Life Lessons, and Triumph. It's available at book Barnes & Noble and also Amazon. You can order it today. Just put in Bill Bellamy. It'll pop up at the top of your thing. Follow me on all social media platforms at Bill Bellamy, on IG, Twitter, Facebook. And then I have a new movie coming out called Back to the Strip, August 18th, and it'll be in theaters. It's a very funny comedy. You guys will like it.
Fuck yeah. Support him, guys. You're one of my favorites, man. I'm really happy I got to talk to you about this, dude. Thank you.
Thank you, guys, man. It was a good time, Jake.
Thank you, buddy.